little globe that says interpretation, and then just click in there and choose the Spanish one. And we have Diane translating as we're speaking. So, en la pantalla hay un círculo abajo, entonces nomás tienen que irse al círculo, le presionan en el círculo y luego escogen español y Diane los va a estar traduciendo al mismo tiempo que nosotros estamos hablando. Si tienen alguna pregunta, nomás levanten su mano y les podemos ayudar. La presentación va a ser en inglés, pero Diane va a ser la que está haciendo la traducción en este momento.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Maria. Let's check real quick and see how we're doing. Okay, nobody else is on the call right now. I will keep monitoring to see if we get some new attendees. In the meantime, I'm going to start the slide deck here. That's not what I want. I'm sorry, everybody. Oh, here we go. So this workshop that we're hosting this afternoon is on our Apex learning platform. And for those parents, this is not a platform that our elementary students are using. This is solely a platform that our secondary students are using. So if you have a student in grades K through 5, this is not going to pertain to you and your students. So you really don't need to be here. However, if you'd like to sit in, you're more than welcome to join us. But I did want to let you know that this is solely a secondary platform. I'm going to introduce the team that's here today. First, let's go over the Zoom tips real quick. So Maria just gave the instructions if you are wanting Spanish interpretation. She told you how to access that by clicking on the globe. We also have a chat feature. So if you have a question during the presentation, please feel free to type it in the chat bar. I will be monitoring that for our presenter and making sure that we address all the questions that come in during the presentation. There's also a raise hand feature that you can click on, and that way it'll show us that somebody has a question and we'll make sure to address that. And then also our presenter will be stopping throughout the slide presentation to see if there's any questions and check in. I'm also going to ask at this time if you would mute yourself. It helps so that we don't have any talk over on the presentation. And then if you do go to ask a question, you can go ahead and unmute yourself at that time. And then as far as the video, if you're having difficulty hearing or there's a lag, you might want to turn off your video camera. Sometimes that will help with the transmission. So here in Spanish for a moment. So the chat feature, the raised hand. And then, so I want to welcome you to our meeting today. My name is Deb Wickman. I am the Family Engagement Teacher on Special Assignment for the district. I want to introduce to you Maria Kramer. She is our bilingual office assistant and the receptionist at our Educational Support Services office. Many of you probably have interacted with Maria on time to time. And then Diane Kemp-Lopez is our Community Relations Liaison. She will be hosting the Spanish interpretation for this presentation. And then we also have with us today Joshua Thibodeau. He is our coordinator from our Curriculum and Instruction Department. And then our guest speaker today, who I'm very pleased to introduce, is Robin Arrett. Did I get that right? She is with Apex Learning, and her role there is an Implementation Success Manager. So I'm going to turn the screen over to Robin at this time so that she can take control of the presentation. Let's see. Let's turn that off. And then, Robin, you should have access now.
I have access to sharing the screen, but not to your screen or the deck, but that may just be how it is. That's okay. If you give me a moment, I can pull yours up.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I maybe that should have been something I predicted, but I didn't. It's no problem. I can access it on my screen. Okay, thanks everyone for your patience. Okay, it's coming up right now, and we'll get started. Okay, so give me 1 sec. I'm sorry, I was not prepared for this.
I'm
piece.
sorry, Robin.
It's okay. I'm just making sure though it's in a window that I can access while I'm on.
The joys of Zoom
Okay.
meetings.
No. Okay, I think we're in good shape now. Excellent. Okay, so I may jump around a little bit. I actually have the controls. Thank you for your patience. We're ready to go. Okay, so yes, my name is Robin Arrett. I work with Apex Learning, and I am a former high school teacher and then interventionist and curriculum person. My job is to actually work with the school district as an ongoing support lead to make sure that everything is working successfully for the district students and parents. And so this is just a little bit about me and my role. What's nice about having a partner like Apex is that you don't call and just get a random person every time. The district has somebody that they can go to and really work with in an ongoing fashion. This is my colleague Megan. She will be leading the second session. We wanted to start by just giving you a big picture of what Apex Learning is. And we'll also take a brief tour actually within the product so that the parents here on the session today can get a firsthand view of what your students will be seeing and interacting with online when they work with their Apex courseware. So the foci of this work, of course, is to help students increase their academic achievement. And even if buildings are closed, we are saying schools are open, right? They are open, teachers are working, and they are working with really great, strong content and tools to help kids continue to succeed and learn throughout the year, even in these challenging times. So some of the goals here, right? Of course, increase their achievement. We want students to pass the first time, and not just pass, but really pass with knowledge and with learning. And we can prove that our products work when they're combined with good teachers. We have data with control groups even that shows that when students do the work on Apex in partnership with a great teacher, that they actually do better on the next class or on a third-party assessment, that they can take that knowledge beyond the screen of their Apex experience and apply it in the future. And so we really are happy about that. We're happy about the quality and integrity of content that your students will receive. Just a very quick background. We are not a new kid on the block. Apex Learning was one of the first. We've been a digital curriculum provider for a long time. And I always remember the year because that was the year that I got my master's in education. So we sort of started at the same time. And we work with millions, we have millions of enrollments. It should say millions of enrolled students, meaning some students may be enrolled in more than one course, but we have enrollments all over the country in our products, and we're very happy about that. And although it's national, we have state-specific curricula so that you know your students are working on content that's aligned to your state standard. And here you can just see a few of our endorsements and the fact that we're backed by some very well-renowned vetting organizations. So what I'd like to do now is actually, I'm going to pause the share for a moment, and I'm going to switch screens so that I can actually take you in to see Apex Learning and what the courses and tutorials that your students may be working on look like. So while I'm doing that, if there have been any questions thus far, I'm happy to answer those. And in the meantime, I'm going to just log us all in to get a first-hand look at Apex.
So if anybody has
Deb, if there are any questions, feel free to
nothing
share
in the
those
chat
along.
at this time.
Okay, great. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you all can see the Apex experience firsthand. We know that sometimes you get handouts and you get announcements, but parents really want to see it, and they want to see it not just over the shoulder of their children working, right? But what is it that they're doing? How is it structured? What might be expected? So I'm going to go ahead and log in. We have a site here. This is not actual student data. It is demo data. It wouldn't be legal for me to share real data with you. But this is a really good representation for you to see the student experience. Now, right now I'm in as a teacher, just to show you that a teacher may use Apex courses or Apex tutorials. And these are very different products or platforms that a teacher can use. So let's just take a look, for example, at what a course might look like. So if I open up an environmental science course, this is what it will look like also for your student, right? So your student will launch the course, and your child will see how many units are in that course. And as the student is working through the unit, you can see these circles begin to fill in and get completely darkened as they progress through those units. And these will all fill in as they go. So even if you're just walking by, you want to take a look at where your students are, you can get an idea here. But the student also is consistently shown in a visual way where they are and how much is left. There are multiple units within a course. Within each unit, there are multiple lessons. So now a student has lesson 2.1, 2.2, etc. The lessons are on grade level. They are rigorous, but we provide a lot of opportunities and tools for students to get support they need for the lessons while they're learning. And we also do training with their teachers to learn how to access and tap into those resources to help support student learning. So students will always get an overview so that they know right at the beginning of every lesson and every unit, what are the main objectives? What is it I really need to learn? What might be on the test, right? And so these objectives are at the beginning of each chunk of material for students to reference. The study is when the student is exposed to new information. Let me get my Zoom tools out of the way so I can, here we go. Your students, your children, when they're working through a study, will always have access to a study guide. And this study guide is something that when we click here is available to them to help give them guidance as they're moving through the lesson. So it doesn't just feel like a lot of new information that can get cloudy. They actually get reminders of, what are the key vocabulary, what are some of the key concepts, to help them start to process that information and make sense of it as they go. There are multiple quizzes in our activities. Those quizzes are done on the computer. They are automatically scored, and those scores will show up for the teacher in the gradebook. If a student tries to rush through a quiz and just click through to get past it, and they don't pass twice, that quiz will lock and alert the teacher so the teacher can help the student and help them to do something differently so that when they take it a third time, and by the way, those are 3 different versions of the quiz, so they're not getting the same questions each time, but that when they have that third attempt on the third version available, they do better because they're not rushing and they've had the support and intervention from their teacher. So that's kind of just a very quick look at the student interface. They're moving through each item. As each of those items is complete, there will be a green check mark, so it will show that they're done. And then at the end of the units, there are tests. There are summative assessments. And those assessments also, we have 2 forms. They can be taken on the computer, or there is an option for a written test if needed. So that's just sort of a quick view of what the course material looks like. Yes, the teachers do have a grade book. The teachers will see the scores come in. They have access to reports and data, and so do you, and I'll be showing those to you. So if you have questions about how your students are doing, you can ask the teacher, and you'll also be able to access a report that shows that for yourself. Very, very quickly, I'll just show you what a tutorial looks like. A tutorial, of course, is different from a whole course because a tutorial is designed to be used in bits and pieces. So if a teacher, for example, is teaching triangles, they might just use the segment of tutorials about triangles, right, as a supplement to their instruction. But there is work for students to do in tutorials, and tutorials can also help them diagnose what prior skills they might need or that they may have missed last spring in order to be successful on this grade level content, and it will automatically assign those. So your kids may be working on a tutorial, and they may also be assigned some prior topics to practice and work on to bring them up to grade level quickly. So very, very briefly, this is what the tutorials look like. Y'all can see that, right? It's a black screen with multiple squares. Am I sharing the right one?
Yes.
You get a nod? Okay, great, thanks. So yeah, so these are all different bits and pieces of material. Everything is brought to the student in chunks. So for example, if they're learning linear systems and algebra, they may get a brief pretest to help diagnose those prior skills needed. And then they'll have certain topics assigned to them. And that might be an assignment that they're doing, either synchronously with their class or on their own, especially if they have some prior gaps and they're assigned additional topics or supporting topics. They may have to do those to catch up. Students usually really like these. They're pretty quick. They're very chunked. They are engaging, colorful. Again, always the key concepts, key vocabulary. There are things to click on, to drag and drop, to rotate. There are many ways to interact with the material. There is a quick little way for students to sort of test themselves if they want to see how they're doing before they take an actual test. Brief videos to kind of bring the concept to life. Some of these are very humorous and funny. And then very quick little test-its to check their knowledge on that one skill. And then when they're done, they will get a post-test that covers all of the topics. That's a little bit longer. So I want to pause there before I share with you the weekly report. I really just wanted to give you a quick look at both items that your students may be using. And while I'm pulling that report up, Deb, if there are any questions in the chat box, I'm happy to take those.
So we did have one question, and the question was, is every class using Apex? And I believe the answer is no. It's not every class, but I'm trying to get the exact answer for you.
Yes, my understanding, and again, I don't want to misspeak, for the district, but I do believe that the teachers were given options of courses, tutorials, and various items to use. And so different teachers may be using different resources in different ways. And they may also use them in different ways throughout the year. So they may have a really strong, wonderful lesson that works well online for one unit, but then as they move to the next unit, they may use a tutorial to teach that. So it may fluctuate, and we like that too, because students don't get bored that way, right? They're getting different exposure to different things.
And that's my understanding as well.
Great. Okay, so I know we don't have a lot of time, but I do want to, were there any other questions? Deb,
that was all that we have in the chat at this time.
Okay, great. So feel free to ask the questions. I'm happy to field as many as I can. So in addition to seeing the platforms that your students may be working on, there is also an option for your teachers or school or district to enter in parent emails. And we can have up to 5 authorized adults attached to each student in the program. And those adults would be people who want to get ongoing data to see, and ongoing reports to see how their students are doing, their kids are doing. And it allows you to have that show up as a reminder in your inbox every week on Sunday. But the link that's in that welcome email and then each week thereafter, that link can be clicked on anytime. So you can save that link. And if you want to check your students' work every day, you can click it every day. It will always be live. And in that link, you will be able to see a lot of key performance indicators on your students' work. So I wanted to show you quickly what this weekly report looks like so that you have an example of that. So, one moment.
And for parents, my understanding is right now we're kind of in a transition period where the classes are being established with enrollments. And so once that is solidified, then these features will be implemented and you will be able to get those reports.
Yes. And with them just starting, I don't think there's a ton of data in there yet anyway, but as they go. Yeah, so this is kind of a breakdown of the bits and pieces that you will see in the report when you click on the link. So first of all, of course, you'll see your student listed here. And if your student is enrolled in multiple courses, that's fine. You can, there's a drop-down menu where you can choose which one to take a look at. And you'll see kind of how they're doing overall. Are they on track? Are they behind? This will light up green, yellow, or red. You will be able to see their quality of work so far. So of the work they've done, how are they doing? And the grade to date, that will take into account their quality of work, but also, do they have missing assignments? And if they do have missing assignments, those will be temporarily averaged in as zeros. So if your student has 5 assignments missing, there's 5 zeros in the grade book, right? But then when they do those assignments, that will immediately, that grade will go up. The 0 goes away. So you will also be able to see week by week, and you can click on the calendar to look at prior weeks. I'm sorry, this example is from 2015, but the visual is the same. But you can click on prior weeks, and you can actually see how much time did your students spend each day on their courses? What activities did they complete? How much time did they spend on those activities? And here's something interesting to look at. If you notice the different shades of green, the darker color is student instruction. Are they really paying attention when they're going through the lessons? Are they reading the work? Are they moving through it with meaning? Versus the assessments, which are the quizzes, are they trying to jump to the quiz and try to get that done before they've really done the work, right? So remember, in the courses that will lock them out if they do that and they don't pass. So all things are designed in here to really encourage the student to go through the course in a meaningful way and learn the most that they can. So you will be able to see this right away for them, and you'll be able to see which activities are overdue. So if they're telling you they're caught up and you're not quite sure, you can click on your link and you can see if they are in fact caught up. And then we can make this available to you as well. I'm realizing the link to this is not on the PDF, but I can get it to you all. And I will send that over to the district, but this is another option. What I recommend for folks who are receiving this weekly report is, yes, get the email and then just bookmark the link. Bookmark it on your phone, bookmark it on your computer, your iPad, whatever it is, tablet. And then that way, anytime you're curious, you can just click on it and see how your student is doing. Okay, so the final thing that I wanted to share, well, I'll stop and see if there are any questions, and then I'll share some additional resources for parents that you can look at or watch on your own time. Are there any other questions?
And if you have a question, it's okay to go ahead and unmute yourself at this time. No?
You can ask in Spanish. We have translators. I know a little bit. I'm not fluent, but I know I have help in here, so that's okay.
Si hay alguna pregunta, pueden cancelar su micrófono para que pregunten. ¿Alguna pregunta? I don't think there's any questions yet.
Okay, that's fine, no problem at all. Okay, so I just want to go back to our slide deck here because I wanted to share with you some additional resources. Now, my understanding is, the spacing got a little weird on this one. My understanding is that all of the parents will get access to the deck, so you're going to have access to the links. This is just a quick visual of some of the impact that we see in districts with using Apex, but I don't know why it's looking like this. There we go. There we go. Okay. So you will also have access to this slide. And on this slide, these are actually links, so you don't have to copy or paste them. You can just click right on them. And you will find this is about a 10-minute video to tell you more about Apex Learning and what we're about. I know that a lot of parents really want to know more about what it is that their students are doing when they're working online. What kind of material is this? You know, where is it coming from? Also, some specific resources about courses, and tutorials. And I just completely messed that slide up. Sorry, folks. Here it is. So you will see Apex courses handout, as well as a quick introductory video. And for Apex tutorials, a quick introductory video and a handout. So the handout link got cut off there, but we'll deal with that. So anyway, those are some great resources that you can use after this meeting. Anything else that I can answer for you about Apex? I can say that your district has had many of your teachers attend the Apex trainings on both courses and tutorials. We're continuing to get a lot of good questions that really show me that teachers are diving in and using them well. And they will continue to learn more and probably use these in different ways as time goes on. But they're doing great. So we're very happy to be working with the district.
And this is a resource that teachers can use even if when we transition back to face-to-face learning. So this isn't strictly for our virtual learning. This is a tool that teachers will be using throughout the year. Robin, if you want to go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and take the screen back for a minute.
Okay, great. I will stop the share.
I'm going to share with the parents a few resources that we have available for them. It does this every time. Okay, so let me skip to the slide deck here. That's not what I want to show. I'm going to exit this for a minute. Sorry. Here we go. So on our district website, this is the Oceanside district website. If you scroll down, there's a tab here called Virtual Learning. And if you click on that, we've created this page to help with our answer families' questions during this period of virtual learning. So you'll see when you click on there, here's the parent academies that we've been hosting. And it is, everything on this page is in English. And then if you click here, you'll get the Spanish interpretation or translations. But this guide right here, it's listed here under the first paragraph, but then it's also referenced down here. If you click on this resource guide, this is a great tool that's been developed to give you tutorials, videos, handouts, step-by-step directions for all the different programs that our students are using during this time. So you'll see ARIES, which was one of our first workshops. So there's information about the parent portal, directions, and then this next one you'll see Apex. And here is a link to get you to the Apex website. I will also have the links that Robin just shared with us for those different tutorials. I'm going to have those added here as well. So it'll be another place where you can quickly and easily access those videos and handouts. Going down, you'll see Google Classroom, which was a workshop we had yesterday. There's a lot of different parent tutorials here. So it's a really great reference tool for you to use at any time. This will always be posted on the website. And the tutorials and videos are very helpful. And again, they're offered in Spanish and in English. If you scroll down, you'll see Seesaw, YouTube, Zoom tutorials, but great resource for you as we're going through this period of virtual learning to help you navigate. Whoops, I just lost the website. I also wanted to point out to you, I know there's been a lot in the news lately about the reopening of schools, and I just wanted to share with you, over here on the right-hand side, there is a link that says Safely Reopening. And if you click on that, you'll get the latest information about where we are at with reopening, any of the news releases that the district has sent out, the community updates. So this is a really great resource for you if you have questions about what's happening right now. I would also suggest that you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Here again, the social media accounts are a way that the district is getting information out to our parents. Okay. So let's see if there's any other questions. Looks like we have one. Let's see. Nope, actually, it was just a comment. Thank you. I'm glad that going through the website was helpful. Do we have any other questions for our presenter while we have Robin? She's a great resource on Apex and would be a great one to ask any questions that you might have. Here again, I think we need a music background.
Well, if questions surface later or if any questions come into the district, feel free to send them our way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Robin.
My pleasure.
Diane,
Do you want to put your email, Deb? If a parent has a question and wants to email it to you?
Most definitely. So I'm going to go ahead and add my email address. It's pretty easy. It's just deb.wickman@oside.us. I also want to share with you, I'm going to go back to the slide deck here. So if you're experiencing any difficulty on the technology side of any of the programs or the devices that your students are using, we do have tech support from the hours of 7:30 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, both Spanish and English. The English line is 760-966-4444, and for Spanish, it's 760-966-4443. So again, if you're having any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You'll probably be leaving a voicemail at this time because they're pretty inundated with questions, but they will get to you. It's getting easier each day. So it doesn't look like we have any messages, any questions from our Spanish room either. So it looks like we're doing good. Robin, you did a great job.
Oh, thanks. It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So we have a few more minutes. We will go ahead and stay here for a few moments in case anybody comes up with a question, but that does end our presentation for today. So thank you for joining us, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you do have any questions. Okay, well, it doesn't sound like we have any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and let our presenter be on her way. Robin, thank you so much for being here with us today, and we'll look forward to meeting with Megan this evening. So again, if anybody wants to, we do have another presentation this evening, but it's just going to be more of the same information that was presented today, so it won't be anything new. Thank you all very much. This recording will